Hi and welcome to the Martin Bell Show. Hopefully you've been keeping well, and in the video today I'm going to be reading from the Daily Mail Online, and it's going to be about Bitcoin, and the article is about those of who believe Bitcoin could have zero value have so far been proved wrong, but is its appeal being stripped away? I personally think it has been. I don't think it is as luxurious or a greater thing that people think it is. I think it does have quite a lot of problems, and it's not going to be a functional currency system as like a nation's currency system as people think it is going to be. I don't think it's going to be worth several hundred thousands of dollars or pounds per coin, or even some saying millions of pounds per coin. Because, and I'm going to outline the reasons why I am not a fan of Bitcoin just right now. So please don't take this as an offence if you have Bitcoin and you made some gains, or you're thinking of getting into Bitcoin. That's fair enough. This is just me showing my personal opinion. This is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed professional. This is just for educational, inspirational, or motivational purposes only. So, the first reason why I'm not a fan of Bitcoin is there is only 20 million Bitcoin available, and 20% have been lost already due to probably lost hard drives, you got the password too many times, or people passed away and people don't have the Bitcoin. So that's 4 million Bitcoin lost already. So that's 16 million Bitcoins in the whole of the world. And then them 16 million coins wouldn't be able to function a nation. 16 million coins wouldn't be able to function a nation's currency system. From day-to-day transactions. It would only be available for large ticket items, as well as Bitcoin's transaction time and actually cost for the transaction is actually going up. It is not cheap. I've also learned the other day the unethicalness of Bitcoin, how the coins are mined, they're produced dirty from burning coal in China, as well as China has a lot of other implementations of human sanction rights actions, and obviously it's not probably produced in an ethical manner from burning fossil fuels. As well as there are so many other alternative coins. When one coin gets too expensive, I was like, hey, I'll just create my own coin. Anyone can create their own coin, and they don't actually have any value. As well as Bitcoin, as far as I know, has forked several times. So you have Bitcoin Gold, and Bitcoin Cash. So it can hard fork, and I think it can fork again, and it could be a soft fork. As well as, I'm also thinking if you're wanting to buy a ticket item, say if you wanted to buy a pack of apples, and to try and figure out how much time of your life you spent, or how much an item really cost, to the numbers after that decimal point to buy a pack of apples, it'll be ridiculous because of the current price of Bitcoin. It wouldn't be able to be as a functional and day-to-day ticket item. It'd just be too hard to figure out. As well as there's a lot of other problems. You could say if your hard drive dies and you don't have a backup wallet, that means you could lose potentially millions of pounds. And it has been in the news. Someone has recently lost millions of pounds through forgotten the password and only got the attempt wrong so many times. Or they could be taken maliciously, or they could be held hostage and intentionally lost through not paying them ransom, as well as what's some of the other reasons? The volatility, as well as I don't think it's actually going to be a currency system, because I think the main reason why people buy this is because they like the volatility of the thing, and then they can if it goes up and down like a yo-yo each day, there's a potential to make quite a lot of gains quickly. But that does mean you have to shoulder and have a really strong stomach to absorb that, because it can be quite painful to see that volatility. But if it's your currency that you hold most of your value in and transactions you have, do you really want to have that volatility in your currency system? The question is, if it stabilizes and becomes a currency system, would people want to buy it and own it if it didn't have them volatilities where people couldn't make them gains? Would people still want it? And as you can see, I'll give you this is like a 1 year chart currently at the moment. So the beginning of 1 year from this day's date, so let's say the 29th of May, it was around $9,500 a coin, and now today it's worth around 34. And if we go back to its trough on the 16th of April, it was around $63,000 again. So if we go to like an all-time, let's let it reload. Yeah, that's the all-time. You can see that just looks like a tulip mania to me, because there you can see this is where people yeah, here, no, I think it was here. So imagine if you bought it here, right here. So you bought it at 1 Bitcoin at $16,000. Let's say in 2017, the end of 2017, you would have to wait all this time and shoulder that loss. And I think people sold out. And you can see like them dips and going in and out. That's people buying and selling. Because it could be like you could be up one day and down the next. It's a speculative asset. It is not really an investment. It's okay if you have a bit of play money, but I wouldn't consider it an investment. It would be very highly speculative because you don't know what the future holds for it. As well as obviously with the news and enlightenment of the news articles about Bitcoin and the way the Bitcoins are being mined from dirty production of coal. So there's going to be, Bitcoin maybe loses lackluster, and maybe people won't want it due to the shadiness of how the coins are produced, and they may want a new virgin coin that is produced from clean energy. So this could actually potentially considerably go further. And as well as the only way that this makes money is if someone else pays more for it. Remember that. And I really don't think this is. And that's what they're trying to make it as that it's like a currency system. And this is the reasons why I don't like Bitcoin. I'd actually be really interested in hearing your rebuttals to my points and how I may have got it wrong or may have got it right. I'd be interested in hearing your perspective. But this is the main reasons why I see it as that. But I would really be interested in hearing your thoughts. If you've liked this video and you want to see more, then please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you click the little notification button, you get notified when I next release a video or go live. And I'll get back to you as soon as possible from the comment section box below. So if you go right back to the beginning, to the dawn of time of Bitcoin, or well, we go right to the beginning. Back, guys. So when I'm going here, we're going back to 2009. The value of 1 Bitcoin was worth $0 when it was first introduced in 2009. So that does mean it was worth probably a few cents. So Bitcoin first started trading from around 0.0008%, dollars or 8 cents per coin. And then it became worth 8 cents per coin in July 2010. So yeah, maybe if you took a punt, or maybe you put like $1,000 in or 100 quid in for a punt in the future for the coin when you back in 2010. But people now putting all that money in for what it's worth now, I really don't see that as a wise decision. You imagine if you want one coin and then you got to put, what is it, 30 grand? What is it now? Give it a sec to load, and then I'll read you the news article and hear what they say. So what is it worth? It's worth 37, 38. 30 grand. No, I wouldn't spend that much per coin. No way. I only now am more interested in cash flowing investments. If it doesn't cash flow, I like what Kevin O'Leary says about one of his investors. What's his name? Basically, he says if it doesn't cash flow, just say no. So it has a bumpy couple of weeks for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Expect much bigger bumps to come. On Friday, 2 weeks ago, Bitcoin was trading at $58,000. On Friday, it was trading at $36,000. This is pretty meaty decline, but the real story was one mad raging volatility from last week, and Wednesday has dipped below 33,000. So yes, If you don't like volatility, if you hate volatility, then run like the plague from cryptocurrencies, alt currencies, and Bitcoin. This is not a currency. It fulfills none of the three classic requirements of money, and I totally agree, and I probably labelled them out as I read them below. It's not a price dominator because its value moves around so much. It is not a medium of exchange with one of its cheerleaders, Elon Musk, now not letting you buy a Tesla with it. Anyone who bought a couple of weeks ago will acknowledge it has not been a great store of value. So it is an asset class just like shares, bonds and gold, works of art and so on. It is an asset class that has been stunningly successful in attracting buyers, and it has many believers who hold that it will continue to be successful. Just because something's been successful in the past doesn't mean it's going to be equally or greater, more successfully and in the future, as well as there's more upfront cost for its futureness. Because if you're putting, say if someone only bought the coin for like £500, that was a while ago, you have to put in like 30 grand. Would you be happy with the same return? You're taking more risk than the earlier adopters, so you're so likely. I've heard the same before. Most people get nothing for something, and the early adopters will get something for nothing. So something to bear in mind. As you can see, I'm clearly not a fan of Bitcoin, but I'm against the idea of Bitcoin though. The fact that governments central banks hate it, it is for many an argument. It is its favour. It takes the power to create money away from them, and it distrusts governments and banks. That is just fine. Those of us like myself who believe that Bitcoin could have zero value have so far been proved wrong. But in the past few days, two things have happened that have stripped away its appeal, and I agree. Just because you haven't been proven wrong yet doesn't mean you're wrong. The mania may not have ended, and obviously people's greed may be blinding them, as well as it's not something that may happen overnight. So on Tuesday, China banned financial institutions and payment companies from providing services for cryptocurrency transactions. It has also warned investors against speculative cryptocurrency trading. Then on Thursday, the US Treasury set out plans for all cryptocurrency transactions of more than 10,000 to be reported to Internal Revenue Services. And people who say it's not trackable, that they are mistakenly wrong. It probably is. Like Secret Service probably know how and who owns what coin and how it is tracked. As it has a ledger, it is probably going to be trackable, and it's not as decentralized as you think it is. And why would you want a completely decentralized system? Because then you have nothing to protect you if something goes wrong. I have seen this. I've seen this multiple times. People complain like they want to take insurance against like their cryptocurrency. Is like you want to a centralized system to insure an uncentralized system that doesn't want them to exist, and that makes sense. So not only would any legitimate gains be taxed just like everything else, but funds that were the result of illegal activities would come into the authorities' sight. The other development was a sudden focus on the environmental cost of running cryptocurrencies, and they use large sums of energy in cryptocurrencies, some bigger than, I think Bitcoin uses more electricity than actually some nations, which is insane, and particularly the amount of electricity needed to power the computers that create or mine these digital assets. This is something that central bankers and finance ministers have been pointing out for years, but their objections have been largely ignored, I suspect because they are seen as an establishment figures. And yes, they think it's like they're fighting the man and the machine against them, as well as like I spent £500, I tripled or 10x, 20x my money, and then people's greed is blinding them. But the people who are the early adopters who took that risk aren't taking as much risk to get the returns, because you have to put more money down for the same amount per coin than they did. They got hundreds of coins where you may barely get a fraction of a coin. So what changed with things was Elon Musk. He drew attention to this when he said that Tesla would halt purchase of vehicles with Bitcoin due to concerns over the rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining. Well, that was going to be like a thing that was going to happen. It was only a matter of time if you think about it. As well as other countries that have naturally cold climates would also take advantage of that as well, because they haven't got to cool the systems that produce these coins to keep them cool, because they got natural cold climates. So how much power? The Judge Business School of Cambridge University does a running tally. It gives a wide estimate range, with the current midpoint a bit below the energy consumed by Sweden. At the bottom end it is about the same as Portugal, while at the top it could be using more electricity than the United Kingdom. That is an insane amount of money, and I do find that a bit strange. People who like the environment, they haven't actually picked on Bitcoin that much. So where are these Bitcoins being mined and therefore using all this power? The answer is that 2/3 of them are coming from computers in China. Since China generates about 58% of its electricity from coal, anyone buying or holding Bitcoin is adding to air pollution in China and global carbon emissions. So, up to now, environmental movement has described activities as say softer targets. So this could change things considerably if the rules and laws and regulations change, as well as China having their little grubby hands on Bitcoin. I don't know if people will want their name associated with Bitcoin. The bigger institutions or the larger people, or people with more funds, investments, they may not want to be associated with having with the association with them. So it is much easier to stage a demo outside the office of an oil company or a bank than to challenge an enormous but fashionable entity such as Bitcoin. But it is pretty clear cryptocurrencies will be caught in a pincer movement between nations' authorities on the other hand, everyone who cares about the environment on the other hand. While they were fringe activity, they were under the radar. Now the big guns are being trained on them. So what will happen? Well, I don't think one should exclude that the possibility that Bitcoin will recover. And I think it will recover. I think it may actually go higher, but I don't think it will go higher for too long, because the only way that you get your money back is by selling out the position. It doesn't produce a dividend, and the only way to get it is to sell it on to someone else for someone else wanting to get it, and then selling it on to someone else to pay more, which kind of seems like a bit of a pyramid, because it doesn't actually have any other function. I don't see people actually using it as a currency. From where I live, I've very rarely in person ever seen people accept Bitcoin. And if they do accept Bitcoin, they're not accepting Bitcoin, they're trading Bitcoin back into their nation's currency and not really having the Bitcoin. It's just a facilitant and not actually caring about the coin. So the US hedge fund pioneer Paul Tudor Jones likens cryptocurrencies to investing in high tech before the sector took off. Catherine Wood of ARK Investment Management said last week she thought Bitcoin would go to £500,000 per coin. And I do think that is very, very optimistic, and I think some of the early adopters would probably sell off way before then. And then maybe some new people would come in, but once it starts to dip below, when you've got £500,000 per coin, I think people would sell as it dipped too much. So, but then again, who would want to buy it on the flip side? But equally, cryptocurrencies may be totally worthless. Andrew Bail, Governor of the Bank of England, and warned this month. I'm going to say this very bluntly again. Buy them only if you're prepared to lose all your money. And I totally agree. It's a very speculative asset, and you've no idea what's around the future. So let's just read some of the best comments and the worst rated comments. Just interested to see what they're saying. So Bitcoin was worth around 3,500 in March last year. That's 10 times. Since then, these coins and consequences of underlying technology try and be simple. If you understand the technology, you can see that value. You missed out investing in the early 90s with the rise of the internet. Remember all the government threats about it. I actually do think it's slightly different this time. I do actually think it's different. So, okay, I hope you found this video useful. If you have, then please feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And if you click the bell notification button, I'll let you get notified when I next release a video and go live. So thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you all soon.